years since a tornado ripped through Joplin. That's as of today. KOMU has followed stories from Joplin since it hit and continues to bring you updates. KOMU 8's Jim Reek and a couple of other reporters are in Joplin right now to give us an update on how it's going there today. Jim?
Well, here we are, May 22nd, 2013, Cunningham Park in Joplin, Missouri. 2 years ago today at 5:41, America's most deadly tornado in more than 60 years blew through this park. This is where the winds reached more than 200 miles an hour. This tornado killed 161 people. Here we are 2 years later. It's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon in Joplin, Missouri. I'm joined by KOMU 8's Megan Malaris and Dan Kennedy. We'll talk to you about your stories in just a second, but we have a memorial service coming up here starting at about 4 o'clock. The governor will be here. Janet Napolitano, the Homeland Security Secretary, will be here, and we have a full day of coverage. And tonight at 6 o'clock, Megan, you have a story about rebuilding Joplin.
I do. I look into why an estimated more than 300 families here still are displaced 2 years after this tornado ravaged their homes, made them uninhabitable. 17 of those families, I found out, actually still live in FEMA trailers down the road. I talked with an organization called Rebuild Joplin that's trying to help them. This organization helps uninsured or underinsured residents get back into their homes for whatever they can afford to pay. It's a really neat organization. They actually helped one resident rebuild his home about 100 yards from where we're standing right now. We can see it in the distance. His home was completely destroyed and rebuilt in its same location. We tell his story as well as examine the process of spiritual and emotional rebuilding, a rebuilding process that undoubtedly has affected virtually everyone in this town as they attempted to come together and cope and seemingly find the silver linings from this tragedy. So that's coming up at 6.
Dan, at 10 o'clock, you've got a story about the high school class of 2013.
And how about them? They just graduated 3 days ago on Sunday, actually. But a few weeks ago, I had the chance to sit down and talk to four really impressive students, Jim. This tornado hit when most of them were 16 years old, when they were finishing up their sophomore year. And you can imagine how much growing up they had to do in 2 years. I mean, things that they saw you never want anybody to see, much less a 16-year-old. So you're going to hear their story tonight. You're going to hear from Joplin School Superintendent C.J. Huff. He says just what a tremendous class they have, and I think you're really going to enjoy their stories.
Speaking of graduation, the two of you graduated from the University of Missouri Journalism School this past weekend. Congratulations. You've already got great first jobs in Greensboro.
Yes.
And Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Well, thank you for being here and helping us with our Joplin coverage. And we will be back in Joplin in just a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, guys. I know it's been a lot of coverage over the last couple of years.